today. I mean, there is an option to increase the biomass outside of the harvest of window harvest, because you can have more biomass to generate energy. This is something that we are analyzing. But as I said, it only makes sense if you think of a future production of ethanol from cellulose. Today, it wouldn't make sense to the mills to plant and to produce this kind of variety.
Okay, Afli Schwartz from Unica asks Jan, what are the expected productivity yields for biobutanol in terms of liters per ton of sugarcane?
Okay. In fact, the energy yield is identical to the yield with ethanol, and so the liters per ton of butanol is simply in the ratio of the energy densities of butanol and ethanol, and so that means that you would get, well, I'll get the maths wrong, but effectively for 100 gallons of ethanol you would make 80 gallons of butanol, so the energy content of those two being identical.
Okay, have a question for Ricardo Madureira, comes from Mateus Consoli, Market Strat. The question is, the new varieties that will increase biomass per hectare will require increased use of fertilizers per hectare. If so, what is the cost impact per hectare?
Well, we don't know yet. As I said, we are developing, and it's part of the research to analyze and to just figure it out how much would it cost more, if it costs more. What we know is that this kind of variety with more cellulose is stronger than a conventional sugarcane, because it is more robust, more tolerance to disease. And there's an opportunity, and perhaps it's also stronger in terms of growth with less nutrient, less water. But it's our expectation. I would say that this would use less nutrient or less water because of the characteristics of this grass, if I can say that. But actually, we don't have any data to support this analysis. It's my personal opinion, and we hope that in the next 1 or 2 years we have more data about nutrients, about the real cost to produce this kind of variety.
Okay, I have a question from Rodrigo Paiva, representing Petrobras, to Steen Riisgaard. In terms of quality of the product, which is expected in terms of performance, applicability, and so forth, is the cellulosic ethanol similar to the first generation ethanol? Is it similar for fuel purposes or for the alcohol chemical route?
Yes.
Yes. The answer is yes. Okay. This next question is from Glaucia Souza, representing FAPESP USP. She wanted to know what's the expectation of using bagasse more intensively, since 90% of the bagasse is being addressed to cogeneration. The question is if this practice will change the availability of ethanol for cellulosic purpose. I think her question is regarding the competitiveness of using cellulose for electricity or for biofuels. Anybody wants to address that?
So it's a good question. I mean, it reflects the fact that there are some big incentives for cellulosic ethanol going on in the US and now very recently in Europe through this double counting of cellulosic ethanol against targets. In Brazil, currently cellulosic ethanol would have to compete on its own economic terms, and so it's a question really of bidding bagasse away from the electricity market. I think what that means is when you go and do the maths, you have to reach a much lower price point to make cellulosic ethanol work in Brazil than you currently would have to do, say, in the US. And so that's really the explanation of why We're about to see cellulosic ethanol plants appear in the US over the next 2-3 years. They're not at a price point. We heard earlier on this afternoon a number of $2.50 a gallon for the production of cellulosic ethanol. That really isn't going to get the bagasse that price. But by the time you get to below $1.50 a gallon, then things look maybe a bit different. And so I think, you know, as the technology develops and goes down the cost curve, then it will become a sensible proposition in Brazil as well.
Yeah, basically, just stating from I think the millers and the sugarcane business in Brazil, we would like to have the flexibility to use all the technologies that are available. So if you can make the best use of your cellulose to produce more fuel or any other product, I think the flexibility is what the sector would like to have. I have just one more minute, and I have two questions for Steen, and I think you can answer those in one shot, Steen. One is, what are the raw materials or the biomass used in your tests in China and US? And the second is when the economic model that shows the viability of using the second generation biofuels be available?
The input both that we are working with our partners in the US and in China is corn residues. Was the first question, and we have a model ready in the US. We have a model ready in China, and I think maybe Nilson, you can answer when do we together have the model ready for Brazil?
It's already ready. O modelo está disponível. Pessoal, acho que nós conseguimos fazer 90% das perguntas. Vai ficar umas 3 ou 4 sem responder, mas o tempo já esgotou. Elas vão ser todas passadas para os palestrantes que, através dos seus e-mails, vai poder respondê-las individualmente, ok? Queria agradecer muito a atenção de vocês, a participação, e convido todos aí para o plenário a assistir a palestra do ex-presidente Bill Clinton. Muito obrigado. Até lá.
Yes.